What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Cadillac Cartoons, and today I'm going to show you how to create a custom color palette from just about any image in Adobe Illustrator. So as you can see, I have Illustrator up and running, and on my document you can see that I have an image of the Aurora Borealis. And if you take a look at this image, you can see that there's several different colors here. Like right here, there's some dark blue, and over here some pinkish purples, and then some sort of like aquamarine or tealish colors. And close to the bottom, you can see that there's some dark greens or any other colors that are close to black. So what I'll be doing in this video is showing you guys how to generate a color palette from this image specifically. So let's get started. So the first thing that I got to do is create some shapes at the bottom of my canvas, so that way I have a place to put my colors when I go to select them. So I'm going to go over here to my rectangle tool, which is right here. And what I'm going to do is create just a white rectangle at the bottom of my canvas, like so. Alright, but like I was just stating, there's several different colors within this image. So obviously I can't work with just one rectangle here. So the Illustrator trick I'm about to show you is going to help us break this rectangle up into several different pieces. That way each of those pieces gets a different color from this image specifically. So after making our rectangle, I'm going to go up here to Object, go to Path, and then go to Split into Grid. And then this window comes up. So if you're familiar with how to create margins and columns in Adobe InDesign, this window works somewhat similar to that. So within this rectangle here, you can specify the amount of rows and columns you can generate. So rows I'm not going to make, but columns, I'm going to divide this rectangle up into 6 different columns. So right here it's set to one big rectangle, one big column. So making sure my preview checkbox is on so that way I can see what I'm doing as I go before I hit the OK button. I'm going to go up here to columns, and I'm going to set that to 6. Or if you have a specified number of columns that you want to make out of this rectangle, then put that into this box that I have selected right here. So in my case, I'm going to put the number 6 in, so number 6. And you can now see that my rectangle is split into 6 equal pieces. But what if I want to space each of those pieces out? Like I don't want them all close together. So there's an option just below this called Gutter. And if you're familiar with how to create margins and columns in Adobe InDesign, then Gutter would be the spacing in between each column. So you can specify that by clicking these arrows, or if you have a specific amount, you can put that into this box as well. But with me, I'm just going to adjust it by clicking these up and down arrows here. And with preview still on, I can see what I'm doing. And I can see if I'm satisfied with the spacing. And there we go. So I set it to 10 pixels, and this is what it looks like. And that's looking okay. So as you change this gutter setting, the width, this setting will also change. But this is specifying the width by pixels, the width of each of these divided spaces. So you don't really have to mess with that. But again, if you have a specified amount for each of these divided pieces, then by all means, you put that into this box. And then down here where it says total, that's going to be the total width of the entire rectangle, which I'm not going to mess with either. So I'm going to hit OK after I'm satisfied with all my changes. And if I take my arrow tool and just play around with one of these boxes, you can see that each box or each piece of this rectangle is now its own shape. And a little later into this video, I'll be applying different colors to each of these boxes or pieces now. But the point is, we got a lot of separate shapes that we can apply different colors to. So now what we can do is select one of these shapes here. I'm going to go to my eyedropper tool and just select the color out of this image here, or anywhere else in your document actually. So with me, I'm going to select this pinkish purple, and you can see that the color of this little piece right here is formatted to the color that I selected up here in this image. But there is a way to pixelate your image, and you can generate colors from that. So what I'm going to do is click on this image, then I'm going to go to Object, and then go down to where it says Create Object Mosaic. And that button really speaks for itself, because if you know what a mosaic is, then it'll create a mosaic out of this image. So I'm gonna click here. So these settings at the top, you can really change the size of the image after the mosaic generates. So the current size would be set right here, the current size of the image in pixels. And then in the little box that's next to it, you can change that size to a specific number if you want. I'm not going to mess with that because I want this image to stay the same size. And then in tile spacing, if you want the tiles to be spaced out from each other when the mosaic generates, then you would put those specifications here. So since I'm dealing with a rectangle image, I'm gonna set the width to about 20 tiles. And then the height, I'm gonna keep it at 10. So you can set the amount of tiles by width and height. You can set those to whatever you want. But if I go down here to options, make sure color is on, because that's the whole purpose of this video, is to generate a color palette. And then the rest of these settings we're not going to mess with, so I'm going to hit OK. And now you can see that Illustrator generated a mosaic from this image. And each of these tiles are all in a group together. So if you want to ungroup them and have them be on its own, then you can hit this little button that says ungroup. Or if for some reason that's not there, you can go up here to object and hit ungroup. But in my case, I'm not going to ungroup any of these tiles, so I'm going to get out of here. And based off the mosaic that Illustrator created for us, we have 200 colors to choose from. And in my specifications, I specified 20 tiles by 10 tiles, and do the math, 20 times 10 is 200. So I have 200 colors to choose from, and I can put 6 of them into these little pieces down here. Or if I want to make a bigger color palette, I can select each of these rectangles that we created from the beginning, and then hold the Option or Alt key to make a copy of them. Then I'm going to select all of them, resize them, like so. But a way to apply the colors to each of these pieces, I'm going to click on just one of these pieces here. I'm going to click on this first one here, and then I'm going to go to my eyedropper tool, which would be right here. And with my eyedropper tool, I'm just going to sample a color from this mosaic here. Like, let me sample this color here. And with that piece that I selected before I selected my eyedropper tool, that color applied to that specific piece. And I can do the same with all these other ones if I want. Like, I'm going to select this second one here, and then go to my eyedropper tool. And then I'm going to select like this dark purple here. And then the rectangle piece that I have selected, it quickly formats to the same color of the tile, because that's what I selected with my eyedropper tool. And then let me do that one more time with this third piece right here. I'm going to click on that, go to my eyedropper tool, and I'm going to sample like this dark blue color here. And there we go. And yeah, that is how you do it. That is how you create color palettes from just about any image in Adobe Illustrator. So if you liked the video, or if you found it useful, give it a like and a comment, subscribe if you haven't, and tap the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And I'll see you in my next video.